What is the greatest disrespect you can imagine? Hello, dear friends of the truth, to part 7 about the open letter to the governing body. Moving on to update 9, 2021, Brother Splain reminds us that we should trust the facts and figures of our brothers. Remember the sketchy information, video 6. Then he says something remarkable. Listen carefully.
I hear someone ask, what do they know?
Who is asking this? Faithful brothers and sisters who point out that this information is unscientific and that the actions of the governing body are unbiblical. If this question is even taken up in the update, there must be a huge number of letters behind it. How does Brother Splain respond to this? Just hold on tight.
Wrong question. I think the right question is, what does Jehovah know?
An unbelievable arrogance. The governing body equates itself with Jehovah. Is this a misunderstanding or an inadvertent slip of the tongue? No, this is the serious position of the governing body, for Brother Splain has carefully prepared the statement.
Jehovah's goodness and the way he's been guiding his people during the pandemic, will he make sure that we get good advice, even on health matters? How does he do that today? He does it by means of his organization. But from Jehovah's organization, we've had clear direction from the very beginning. Think of the information we've received through recent governing body updates. This is evidence of Jehovah's loving direction, and that he will guide us, saying in effect, this is the way. Walk in it, you people.
What was this clear direction?
Getting vaccinated, if possible.
This is not only a completely new doctrine, namely that health issues are no longer a personal decision of conscience, but with this the governing body equate themselves with Jehovah. They place themselves on the throne of the Most High. Unbelievable. So it is Jehovah himself who is telling us to get vaccinated? You are actually teaching that. Do you recognize the parallel with 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 3-4? Let no one lead you astray in any way, because it will not come unless the apostasy comes first and the man of lawlessness gets revealed, the son of destruction. He stands in opposition and exalts himself above every so-called God or object of worship, so that he sits down in the temple of God, publicly showing himself to be a god. Which temple of God? In 1 Corinthians, Paul explains, do you not know that you yourselves are God's temple, and that the Spirit of God dwells in you? If anyone destroys the temple of God, God will destroy him, for the temple of God is holy, and you are that temple. So this man of lawlessness sits in or above the Christian congregation and claims to be Jehovah. He exalts himself above God. Dear brothers, you have not only disregarded biblical principles, but during the pandemic you have placed yourself above the God-given conscience of the brothers and sisters and made them act against their conscience. You have demanded the obedience that we owe to Jehovah, and thereby presented yourselves as God. That the governing body pushed for vaccination can be clearly seen in the interviews where brothers and sisters were hesitant and even afraid of vaccination at first, but after watching the updates, they made the right decision. They accepted the experimental gene therapy. Several hair-raising twists of the Bible are supposed to biblically support this.
Would Jehovah allow the governing body, the helpers, missionaries, a huge percentage of the worldwide Bethel family, and other full-time servants to engage in practices or receive a COVID-19 vaccine that would be harmful?
This is actually a way of arguing found in the Bible, namely that of Satan against Jesus. Then the devil took him along into the holy city, and he stationed him on the battlement of the temple and said to him, "If you are a son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, He will give His angels a command concerning you, and they will carry you on your hands, so that you may not strike your foot against a stone." You see the same reasoning trick. It is prophesied that you will be protected, so you can go ahead and do something self-destructive. What did Jesus reply? Again, it is written, "You must not put Jehovah your God to the test." Matthew 4, verses 5-7. A little later, Brother Splain presents the same logical circular argument.
And what about the prophecy that a great crowd which no man can number will come out of the great tribulation? Our God is definitely not like Pharaoh, who wanted to kill off an entire generation of Jehovah's worshippers.
So anyone who doesn't get vaccinated is equating Jehovah with the murderous Pharaoh? This is magical thinking, not faith. Does God only allow harmless things? Doesn't He also allow violence, war, suffering, and drug use, and medical malpractice? In Update 10, you even go so far as to praise Bulgarian vaccinated sisters who took over the jobs of unvaccinated people who were unlawfully dismissed. Where is the compassion for these sect people? These sisters benefited from an illegal, unconstitutional process, and you call that a good testimony? Summary. Through its abuse of authority, the governing body set themselves over God's word, over God's Son, and also above the law. These are three very serious mistakes that disqualify you as shepherds of God's flock. Worse still, you have then begun to persecute Jehovah's sheep. Part 8 of this video series has the topic "The Hunt Begins: Persecution among Jehovah's Witnesses during the pandemic."